Hello. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name's Ari Page. I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at Fund&Grow, and I am joined by Jason Alonso, who is our new Chief Operations Officer. We're so happy to have Jason on one of our webinars. Go ahead and say
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to everybody about what we offer, and bring the operation side into this and show you what it takes to get this funding. I'm really excited about it. Thanks for having me.
absolutely. So I know everyone watching is going to be very excited to hear a new perspective to have Jason on with us today. So you've heard a lot from me, from Ari. Everyone's heard a lot from Mike. Mike is now moving on into real estate. We're very proud of him, and he's moving on and doing some great things. We're still going to be working together. But today we're going to be talking about business funding and how you can get 50 to 250,000, 50 in a short period of time, and up to 250,000 in a 6 to 12 month period of time, and how this type of funding, how it does not show up on your personal credit report, and how this type of funding is really the funding that you want to use to build your business and to be able to invest into your business. So this type of funding is great because what it does is it keeps you from having to give up equity within your deals or within your business. It puts you in the driver's seat. And of course, you don't want to be paying high interest rates on your loans. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with business credit. We're going to be getting into that. So let's talk just a minute about what is going on in the economy. So as everybody knows, we've gone through the pandemic, and now we are going through a different type of pandemic, a pandemic of inflation, where so much money has been pumped into the economy that the inflation is going crazy. So right now, there's a lot of free money out there. Right now is a good time to go after funding. It's a good time. The banks are putting out more funding than they have in a long period of time.
Yeah, I
Interest
mean,
rates are super low.
last month we hit $19 million in funding. It was the most that we've ever were able to produce. This month we're on track to hit another 19 million. So the banks are definitely lending right now.
And that's the funding that we're generating for our client pool. So after a client gets started with us, we then go and secure them credit. And so we hit 19 million just in the previous month. And previously, before the pandemic, we were hitting 15, 16 million. But for it to be boosted all the way up to 19 million now, we're pretty excited. So a lot of folks are using this type of funding for things like real estate. And the reason is because real estate is just huge. Real estate is a big, the markets right now are higher than they've ever been before. And so any way to get your hands on those properties, people are taking. So, of course, also helping with small business funding. So right now, the current state of the economy, so to speak, is in, it's kind of in dire straits. On one hand, many different industries are doing well, but on the other hand, many industries are under attack, and they are not doing so well due to the fallout from the pandemic and from other economic policies. So what we want to do today is help people be able to fund themselves, help them be able to invest in themselves, and that's huge for you to be able to take other people, other equity partners out, and to put yourself in as the main equity partner. So that's one of the main reasons why business credit is good for you, is because it puts you in the driver's seat. And so we're going to talk today on how you can quickly get access to your first batch of funding, and that could happen within the first 3 to 4 weeks. So we do what's called credit card stacking. So we're applying for business credit cards that do not appear on your personal report, and we stack those amounts larger and larger and larger. We'll apply for 4 or 5 at the same time, and we do multiple card stacking batches. We're getting clients up to and over $250,000 of this type of funding, which is 0% in a 12-month period of time. So in the very beginning, clients are getting anywhere from 30 to 80,000 in their first couple months. So
Yeah, and we're building off of that first round of funding too. Like Ari mentioned, we're going after different batches, and we build off each batch. We're going to go after the same lenders every time. If one doesn't work the first round, we may switch it up after that. But when we're getting approvals, we want to continue to build off of those initial approvals to go from say 10,000 to 20 to $40,000, and then end up merging those accounts together and bringing them in for one card at a new 0% interest with a high limit.
And we're going to go over that, how we do that negotiations process, plus a lot more. We're going to be going over how to set up a lendable entity. We're going to be going over what happens when you apply for a business application and you get denied. What happens? I know a lot of people on the call have applied for something in the past, and once you got denied or approved, you just took what you got. We're going to show you how we do the negotiations process, and we smash through that, and we get $50,000 approvals in some cases where it was declined. So this process is something that hundreds and hundreds of clients are doing every month. That's how we're able to get 19 million of funding in 1 month, is because we have hundreds of clients coming to us every single month. And just because you start this month doesn't mean you're going to get funding this month. You may only get funding next month or the month after that, based off of where your personal credit score is. Because what we do is, as you come into our process, we're going to boost your scores by 50, 100 points. This is just part of the process. So we're getting you business credit that does not report to your personal credit, but the byproduct of that is that you're going to end up with better personal credit scores. And the reason for that is because we don't want the business credit to appear on your personal credit. The business credit and the funds that you owe, any type of loan for business, cannot show up on your personal report. And that's one of the big things that we talk about here at Fund and Grow. And that's the funding that we set up for you is going to be business funding. Unless, just as a caveat, just unless we need to set up personal credit to help build you out a more rock solid personal profile, which happens from time to time.
Right. And if we do need to do that, we're going to tell you ahead of time. We're going to go over the game plan with you, especially the day that we're submitting applications. You're going to be aware the banks we're going to, what types of cards, what we're looking at getting. So you're going to be aware of the whole situation before we apply.
So furthermore, today we're going to be talking about this whole negotiations process, how it works, and how to close real estate deals using business credit. So this is the coolest part, where you can literally do a wire transfer from the business cards to your title agency, and how you can use this type of funding to buy real estate. That's how you become a cash buyer instead of using hard money loans and other more expensive loans. So you're going to hear on today's call and today's webinar from real people, videos of our clients that have gone through this process and have received quite a bit of funding. And also, we're going to be talking today about another type of funding that we haven't gone over so far, and that's called non-recourse corporate credit. Corporate credit's different than business credit. So we're going to be going over both of these types of funding today. But if you could, please come to the terminal, come to your computer, and let us know, what is the number one thing that is holding most business owners back? What's holding you back? Is it regulations? Is it, the cost of your materials? Is it funding?
Knowledge.
Is it knowledge? Let it come and let us know, what is the number one thing that is holding most business owners back? We want to hear from you. We're going to make this an interactive webinar, and we're going to be looking at the questions and then coming back. So give us some time. We're going to be going through the main meat and bones of what we do, and then we're going to be and not only what we do, but how we get you funding. And so that's what we're going to be bringing up a credit report pretty soon, going over a credit report. You're going to know how to do this on your own, with or without our help. And then we're going to also talk to you about the amount of funding that we're getting for clients. We have a whole team of people here at Fund and Grow. We have over 60 employees here in the Fund and Grow building that are generating, as Jason mentioned, 19 million last month. The month before that, I think we were 16 million.
16. Last week alone, we had over $5 million in 0% interest business credit. We work Monday through Friday. It's basically an average of $1 million a day. It's pretty impressive.
Yep. So I have Linda's coming to the terminal. She said funding, knowledge, credit. That's what's holding her back. Kelly says funding is holding her back. Come and let us know. Come and let us know.
Cash flow.
Cash flow is holding people back. All right, excellent. So we have a lot of people on today. We want to thank everyone for joining us again. My name is Ari Page. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Fund and Grow, and I'm joined here with Jason, who's our Chief Operations Officer. And what we're talking about today is getting access to funding. And one of the things that are holding people back is not knowing where to go, not knowing what to apply for, going for the wrong types of loans, going for hard money and other more costly, expensive loans that could end up really harming you and taking away your properties. So business credit is a wonderful, beautiful way of being able to get access to funding. That's completely outside of the normal means of what people are thinking of is what's capable or what they could get access to. So what are the benefits of using funding? So some of the benefits of using this form of funding that we're going over today is that it's 0%. Now it's the shortest term is 0% for 6 months. The longest that we've seen is 18 months. And I would say the average is 12 months.
There's actually one out now that's 20 months on the business side.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
something that we go after. We're seeing very high limits with that card as well. It's a newer card that we're going after, but I mean, that's almost 2 years of 0% interest.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what could you do with 20 months of
20
0%?
months.
20
Yeah.
that's amazing. So how we're building up to 125,000 in 3 to 4 weeks. And so how does this card stacking process work? What are the ducks that we need to get in a row, so to speak, or the links of the chain that need to be arranged prior to doing the applications? So part of the benefits of this is that none of the credit's going to appear on your personal credit report. And if the credit is appearing on your personal credit report, then it's not business credit. And when you use it, it's going to count against you personally, which completely defeats the process of the card stacking process. So what we can do with this, of course, what are the benefits? You can buy all types of real estate. You can do wire transfers from the cards themselves to your title agency. No collateral or assets are required. Now, this is a beautiful thing. How many people have been watching Shark Tank and seen people give up literally half of their company? 50,000 for 50% of their company for like 50,000 or $100,000. Well, you can get access to way more than that without giving up any equity within your company. And the worst that would happen is you now have a loan that is an unsecured loan. That's putting you in a way better position than having other equity partners pushing you around, telling you what to do within your own deal. So another great thing about using this type of funding is that you don't need to prove tax returns. Now, we're not in any way advocating for anyone to be dishonest or disingenuous with the banks, but tax returns are not required to prove income. So there's no income verification beyond stated income. And that's makes it much easier and faster to go through the process and get funding for you. So another huge thing that's often not talked about at all is the thousands of dollars you're going to get back. The airline miles, the cash back rewards that you're going to get, the points towards different programs. You can select which program you want to be part of. But here at Fund and Grow, and myself personally, we do 50, 80, $100,000 of spending for this facility and for various different facilities monthly. And that all ends up being put on different various business credit cards. That generates for me and for Fund and Grow enormous amounts of cash back, of airline miles. I flew to Barcelona and took my whole family with me. Went first class, business class, with beds that we could lay down in, and it was beautiful. It was altogether would have been $45,000 for those tickets. That was completely free because of just getting these rewards. Now, the great thing is that all of these rewards are coming in for spending I would have been doing anyway.
Yeah, just by using the cards.
I would have been buying all of the same things. I would have had to been purchasing. I would have been purchasing it with a check, purchasing it with a money, well, probably not a money order, but with a debit card, or with a different credit card, one that didn't produce cash back. So either way, there is a lot of money to be earned through that. Now, if you just take a look at what the basic cost of a hard money loan is versus the cost of business credit, you see very quickly that hard money loans are very expensive. And we're just talking the basis here. Danny, how do I get this pen to work? There we go. So we can see that 15,000 just for a basic hard money loan of $100,000. Now, even if you include all of the different fees involved, as far as a cash, the wire transfer fee, which is pulling the cash off the credit card. So we want to let people know ahead of time when you're doing the wire transfer, there's a tiny fee involved. And even when you add that fee up, you're still paying less to use a business credit card than you are to use a hard money loan. And guess what? You can use this 100,000 over and over and over again, because once you pay it back, you can now use it again.
And real quick, he mentioned the $2,800. The slide before we were talking about the rewards. the cash back rewards. So if you're spending $100,000, you're most likely getting 1-2% back. You're going to pay for this fee just from the rewards.
Mm-hmm.
So really, you're using the wire transfer option just for for free, basically. And we're not pulling the cash off of the cards. Basically, what you're doing is sending money from your credit card through wire transfer at a 2.85% fee to the closing attorney or the title company, into escrow if you're into real estate. You want to pay for a contractor, you can do that. They don't accept credit cards. Whatever you're looking to do, we'll show you ways to do that in non-traditional ways.
And even a lot of people that already have credit cards know that you can get cash back up to, what is it, 1.5%?
Yep.
1.5%. I mean, that's huge. So, what is this, 2.8? Well, already 1.5% is coming back. And so, and then of course, there's, a lot of all of the spending that you're doing is subject to the 1.5%, not just what you're wire transferring. So, all of what you're spending, all of your normal supplies, you can put your cell phone bill, you can put all the different, your normal bills onto a credit card. So, now a lot of people say, I really like this idea, but it's probably not going to work for me because I don't have good credit, or it just sounds like something I've never heard of before. Someone that I know didn't tell me about it, and I'm hearing it from you, Ari, on YouTube. And so I get it. I get it. It does seem like it can be a little bit distanced from us, but that's the same thing I went through when I first heard about this. I had bad credit. I literally had to clean my credit up before I could even apply for business credit. I had to apply for personal credit first. And I don't know how many derogatories it was. It's a little embarrassing, but it was a lot. And obviously, since then, I've cleaned all that up. That was when I was in college. I've cleaned it all up. I now have great credit, and I have access to hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've had access to over $1 million of business credit at one time. And so this is easy access, easy to get. It's easy to access if you keep your credit in good standing. And so it may take time. You can get approved. You might think that you won't. You might think that it's not going to work for you because of the industry that you're in or the business that you own. You, of course, might think the common things like, well, you don't have time to do this. And that might be a correct one. You might be making a lot with what you're doing now, and you don't have time, which is why we do it for you. This is literally what we do. And what is this whole thing about zero interest? Like, come on, Ari, we're not crazy. What do you mean zero interest? Well, if you go onto Google and just very quickly Google 0% business credit cards, you're going to see that every major bank offers 0% cards. Now, the question is, how can I get access to these cards and use them without having to pay huge fees, without having to pay the $15,000 like a hard money loan? How can I get access to the 0% business credit cards and use them as cash, just like I have cash in the bank, without paying huge fees? And that's what we do. So there's easy access to be able to get approved for this. You could go online on your own, and if your credit is in good standing, you can get approved for it. Whether you can get approved for 5 at the same time or not is a little different story. That's what we do, and we do that card stacking process over and over again, and help you. We help you remove the credit inquiries that convert in a business credit card. The credit inquiries, or the inquiry that shows up in your credit report, if it results in a business credit card, it can be removed. And so there's a whole part of this process that has to be respected in order for it to work. And if you do that, it's going to work beautifully for you. And the great thing is, for those that would like us to do it, we've mastered and we created this process. So,
and that's the thing. You'd want to listen to our recommendations. A lot of people, they come in and they don't really know what's on their credit report. They're going off the credit score. The credit score is great, but there's a deep dive into it, which we'll get into a little bit later, that'll show us and allow us to recommend things that we may need to fix, or to help you or point you in the right direction to fix as well.
And the beautiful thing about this type of funding is you can absolutely use it to close real estate. You can use the credit cards to buy things with a company that does not accept credit cards. This is easy to do. We show you how to do it. We literally wrote a book on it. You should check out the Fund and Grow book. It's an awesome book. Check it out on our website. So if everyone that's on the webinar could come and let us know, what will you use your funding for? And thank you for everyone that came before. We appreciate your feedback that you gave us. We have a computer set up right here. So come and let us know, what will you use the funding for? Do you need it to buy inventory? Are you in real estate? Are you purchasing more property? What do you need the funding for? So in the meantime, while you're coming to and letting us know that, I just want to again introduce myself for anyone who's signing on now. My name is Ari Page. I'm the CEO of Fund&Grow. Here you can see me with my son and my daughter Kayla and my son Dimitri here at one of our company parties. And then you can see me with one of the pictures we recently took for our marketing. So I live here in Spring Hill, and this is where Fund&Grow is located. We have about 60 employees here at our Fund&Grow location. We also have various contractors that work for us outside of the company, and we are highly dedicated to churning out funding. And I also have Jason Alonso, who's our Chief Operations Officer.
Yep. And there in the middle, you can see our family here. And then on the right, my fiance, Christy Banks, who's also with the company. We've been here for a few years now. We know what it takes to get the funding. We're very passionate about getting the funding. So I'm definitely excited to be here and to help everybody.
And I just wanted to mention is that, and we're going to get to these real quick, is that Christy Banks is Mike Banks' sister. So Mike has passed the torch on to Christy and Jason. And we are super excited to be, on here making this webinar with Jason today and, moving everything forward. As I told you, Mike is now doing his own real estate deals here in the Hernando County. And so if we have local real estate investors that are interested in working together with us or with Mike, then definitely reach out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He knows what it takes to get the real estate, properties. He knows what it takes to flip them. So definitely reach out to him. But we did get a comment here on YouTube from Apache Native. It says, because of Fund&Grow, I got $7K in passive income already. Business credit is real, guys.
I love it.
It really is. Listen to us, allow us to give you the recommendations, work with us. We'll show you what it takes to get to there.
I wanted to look at this. This user says, I have a Capital One Sparks business under my personal credit. So H. Cruisin', and if you go to the questions area here on YouTube, guys, you'll see that they're saying that he has a Capital One business card, and it's showing up on his personal credit report. So thank you for bringing that up, user H. Cruisin', because I wanted to mention that if you don't know which one of these business cards reports to your personal credit, then you're going to do a lot of damage to your personal credit. You're going to think that you're using business credit when in actuality, you're using a glorified personal credit card, a card that calls itself business, but it reports your personal credit report. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. We have a lot of people that have come and mentioned. Christian says, Christy is so nice and awesome. Awesome. So we have people that want to use it for real estate and starting a dumpster and hauling business. That's awesome. There's so many rehabs going on. That's an excellent business to be in right now. So we have real estate. Tyra says real estate and marketing. So we have questions coming in about your business have to be seasoned. You do need to have some seasoning, but we're going to show you how we can help you with that. So we have people that are looking to do real estate and buying and holding, e-commerce, people that are involved in proof of funds. Awesome. So we have so many different creative investors on the call today. Thank you all for joining us. We're super excited to be here presenting this today. And here we have a picture of our entire team here in front of the Fund&Grow building. Here you can see me and Jason and Christy, and we're pretty excited to be doing this every day. Our team is pumped up. We literally eat and breathe this stuff every single day. We're churning out millions of dollars of funding literally every single week. Last week we hit 15 million in funding. So we've been doing this for quite some time. And real quick, Danny, on the teleprompter, it's been messed up. So we got 30 plus years in the lending space, 14 years of helping our clients obtain business credit and funding. And we were born out of a mortgage company. And so we've acquired over $1 billion in funding over the years, and we're super excited to be to be doing this. We were a mortgage company, and we retooled after the crash of 2007 and 2008, and we went from providing real estate loans in very specific areas in California to doing business credit funding. And that was because we saw that business credit was still being churned out. Lots and lots and lots of funding. Just like during the pandemic. Even though mortgages, even though personal credit cards, even though all of your traditional forms of lending were going down, business credit in the states that were starting to open back up, where it was just pouring back out. And even when all the states were closed, business credit was still lending. Not at the same levels as it's lending once everything opened back up, but it still continued to lend. See, the banks are just big cash flow machines. They have to lend money to make money. We've been doing this for a very long time, and we know about all the intricacies of the banking systems. We've worked with them for a very long period of time, and our legacy online proves that and shows that. We have literally thousands of reviews. We have so many clients that have gone online and left testimony as to how we've helped their business and their families, ultimately helping their communities. We've served over 28,000 businesses nationwide, and we're super excited to be expanding that and continuing to serve businesses here after the pandemic.
Yeah, and you can see here we've got a team of 50 plus. We're growing tremendously. We're continuously bringing in new employees, building this team just to get more funding. You know, we're really expanding with the banks lending the way that they are after the pandemic. You know, it seems like they're just throwing money everywhere. So we're going to be prepared for it, and we want to help you out.
Yep. So we are on all the social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube. Find us at our website, fundandgrow.com, on Instagram, Twitter, on Google. We have all the different review sites out there. So you can find us on Trustpilot. And if you're a current client, and I know that we have some, I saw them putting some comments before. Someone who said that they already made $6,000 using on passive income from using our funding, and so that was pretty cool. Because of Oh yeah, Jason already said Apache Native. Because of Fund and Grow, I got 7K in passive income already. Business credit is real, guys, and so feel free to go onto our Trustpilot, go onto our Better Business Bureau page, and you can see that. You can see that many clients are commenting this, and if you're a client, please go and leave a review for us. Leave a positive review for us. Leave your experience, but you'll find that by far and large, clients are having a 5-star experience with us. And when they're having something less than 5-star, they come to us, they tell us, and we fix it.
That's the biggest thing. Customer service with us is top priority. Obviously, we want to get the business credit. It goes hand in hand. You know,
if we don't give, then why would the client be happy?
Right.
If we're not getting funding, why would the client be happy? So we completely get it, and that's why we pride ourselves in not how many new clients we have coming in, but in how much funding we're getting. That 19 million
Exactly.
last month, that was powerhouse for us. That $5 million in funding last week, that we were over the moon. This is literally what our team gets excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that tradition of giving, we have a gift that we'd like to give for everyone who stays on our call. It's a $500 bonus. Watch this presentation to the end for access to that. And thank you for joining us. What we're going to be going over is the strategies for building funding, how we're able to do the card stacking process. And there's major banks that put out this type of 0% funding. Again, if you Google it, you're going to see that all the big banks offer 0%. And so in the card stacking process, we're applying for multiple cards at the same time. And then we're maximizing in our negotiation process all of those accounts to get them the largest limits. Then after that, 6 months or a few months later, like 1 or 2 months later, we're going to apply based on the client's needs. If they tell us they don't want us to, then we're not going to. But we're going to apply for another batch of funding. And when the 0% expires on the first batch or second batch or third batch of funding, then we help the client move it to to some of the new cards and the new batch. And there's a variety of different ways. There's payment processors that we work with. We have a lot of different data and information that we've saved up historically on how to do these transfers to cost you nothing or extremely little. Of course, if you're doing like a wire transfer or something, you're going to have that 2.85% that we showed you, but you could even do it through a check and do it slightly cheaper than that.
Yeah, and we will make sure that you're in the best position after each round of funding. We're going to show you how to use the funding, how to make your pay downs, how to remove the inquiries. We're not going to remove the inquiries for you, but we're going to show you how to do that or recommend you over to an affiliate of ours to remove those. You'll get a discount with them. But we're going to make sure that you're well taken care of. Usually, after each round, it's about 4 months, 3 to 4 months to go for another round of funding. And that's why, if you do follow our recommendations, you could walk out of here with 3 or 4 rounds of funding and up to 250,000, if not more than that. Just follow what we tell you to do, and you'll be just fine.
So Jane's talking about how she's on her second batch of funding. So on her first batch, she got 35,000. On her second batch, she got 32,000. And so this is how the batch process works. And even if you're only going to get a small batch, like $30,000 or $40,000, it adds up. Now Jane has access to almost 70,000 in funding. And here we have a client that's received a larger batch. So Philip has received 155,000 in funding so far. And this is the whole point of this card stacking process. For everyone, it's a little bit different. They're all in a different credit state, but everyone's going to move forward and do multiple batches and get more funding. So we'd like to ask, how much funding do you need? Come and let us know. Let us know on the webinar terminal on YouTube. Let us know how much funding do you need to scale or grow your business. This is something that we're really curious about. Our average clients are looking for anywhere from 50 to 150,000. Some clients are looking for 250,000 plus. Some clients are in real estate. They're just looking for millions of dollars. Then we have other clients that are looking for very specific amounts. They might be involved in e-commerce or a specific type of build out where they need X amount. They might need 70 or 100. Just come to the webinar terminal and let us know how much you're looking for. Now, while we're waiting for that to come in, we're going to just quickly talk about entities or companies, the corporation, the company that you use, the business that you use when you actually go and apply. Now, it's important that you have these specific 3 attributes set up on the entity that you use when you're going to apply. So with the industry, it makes a big difference. If I'm in in the investment industry, and the name of my company, so industry is number 1, the name of the entity is number 2, the length of seasoning is number 3. So if my industry is investment and the name of my company is Ari's Risky Investment Club, and I was open for 1 year, what do you think the banks are going to think? But if I'm in the investment industry and I have a safe name and I have 3 to 5 years of seasoning, then it changes the dynamic. Or, for example, if I'm in one of the many safe industries like marketing and advertising or business management,
Real estate right now is really big.
Real estate, very safe industry. There's a lot of money to be made. So now the great thing is that when you work with us and we set you up with a company, we're going to set you up with an entity, a legal entity, not a shelf corp or a shelf corporation that what do they call it, shell or shelf? Mm-hmm. No. We're not talking about you misusing an entity where you buy it, where it has a certain amount of seasoning, and misusing it when you buy it and then use it in conjunction with a credit application. You're without disclosing the fact that you just bought it, then you're undermining the whole reason of buying a shelf corp. And so, first of all, that's not the right way. If people are telling you to do that, that's not the right way of doing it. You're actually violating what the banks are looking for. I'm not saying you're breaking any law, but you're violating what the banks are looking for. So that's not the process we do. But what we will do is we'll make sure that the entity that you're using is in an industry that the banks deem safe. Now, there's many industries that the banks don't deem safe, but we can put you into an industry that is encompassing of what you do and is a safe industry, such as business management. If you run any business, then we can set up an entity where you are in the business management industry and you manage maybe your business, maybe even other investments in the future. So the second thing is we can help you come up with a safe name. And also with the process that we're doing, we can help get you a business entity that matches your years of industry experience. So this is something that anyone can do. We set these up for our clients all day long. This is something that the banks are totally okay with. There's no misrepresentation. There's nothing disingenuous about this process. And what we want you to know is that the way we do it is the legal and right way of doing it. And don't go off using a shelf corp because that's not the right way of doing it.
100%. And you could also, if you have an existing LLC or a corporation, like Ari mentioned the seasoning of that, we'll have to look at it. If it's brand new, we may not use that in the first round of funding. We may be able to use it in the next one. But if it's got 6, 9 months, 12 months plus, we'll be able to use that entity as long as it's in good standing.
Yes. So now part of this process is the individualized consulting that our team provides. So our team provides all of our clients, the clients that sign up with us to get funding. They every client needs to have the one-on-one consulting, because without that, without us hand holding, explaining what we're doing, what we need you to do, this process is not going to work. Now we do the majority of the work, but there's some things that you have to do. We can't open your mail for you. You have to open the mail. There are certain things that you have to do, but we do all the heavy lifting, all the legwork. That's all on our side. We do the applying. We do the negotiations. This isn't like one of those business credit companies where you sign up and you pay them and then they ask you to do all the work. No, you're gonna have to actually open the letters and take the credit accounts out. That is your job. You will have to activate the accounts. So part of this, what makes it easy for us, is that we've been doing it for a very long time. We came from the mortgage industry into business funding, and in the very beginning, we were using it as a stopgap. There, we had business clients that were getting mortgages, and these business clients were having a, a certain amount. The loan to value was dropping because what the banks were lending was dropping. The LTV amounts were dropping fast, and so we were telling the client that the LTV was 30%, and then it would jump to 40%, and so we were looking for this stopgap money to make up that difference for these businesses that were trying to buy their locations. And we ended up using business funding. And this type of business credit funding was making up that difference to the point where we were like, wow, this is amazing how much funding we can get rolling in through these credit cards. So that's why we retooled, and we've been doing that now for a very long time. And our customer relations management tool, our CRM, it takes all this data that we've amalgamated for over so many years, for over a decade now, and we're able to use all of that to help you. We're able to take all of our past client credit report situations, all of that data we're able to use to help build your specific profile, your specific company amount of credit. And so that's part of what the individualized consulting process does. That's part of what our people are doing by using our tools that we have on hand for them. And it makes it a really easy process to be able to build you large amounts of funding coming in.
And to piggyback off that, we are here to help. And we want to look at your personal, individual credit reports and your portfolios and everything just to make sure that your plan is going to be the best for you. If we recommend that you need to pay down some accounts, if we recommend you need to remove some inquiries, whatever the case is, listen to us. We're not just here to send you on a goose chase or whatever. We're here to help you. We're here to put you in the best position possible to get the funding that you're looking for and get you over that $250,000 with a much higher personal credit report when you end with us.
Awesome. So I can see a lot of people. We have clients that are looking for, or potential clients that are looking for 50,000, 150,000, 230,000. Kelly's looking for 250,000. Uh, we have people that are looking for 25. Some that are looking for 100. So it really runs the gamut here. We have people that are looking for, it looks like, for real estate. So they're trying to get as much funding as they could possibly get. And then some, again, that are looking for very specific amounts. So that's awesome. Thank you, everyone, for coming and sharing that. We really, really appreciate that.
50,000 to start. I mean, you start there and then you grow. You continue to use this credit to grow your business from the startup position and put yourself at that next level.
Excellent. So let's jump into personal credit and why it matters. So our process is based off of your personal credit. However, the business credit doesn't appear or report to your credit report. The only way that it's going to report to your credit report is if you completely stiff the banks. If you don't pay them and you don't pay them for 90 days in a row, it's going to show up on your credit report as a big fat default. And so nothing about our program is to get funding and not pay it back. This is legitimate funding for legitimate business purposes. So if you happen to have a cash flow issue and you're unable to make the payment within that time, then know that there is a grace period to help you get back on track. But the whole point is not that you cannot pay back the funds. It's that they give you a little bit of a grace period so that your whole business doesn't go down in the meantime. So they give you that 90-day grace period. But understand this is personally guaranteed business credit. It will not report or show on your credit report unless you default. Then it will. So the beautiful thing is, if you don't default, which 99% of our clients do not default, then it's never going to appear on your personal credit. So you can use all the funding without it pulling your personal scores down. No matter how much funding you use or don't use, it will not ever affect your personal credit. That's how we do the card stacking process. The card stacking process is so important that we need to be able to make sure that every time we want to go back for more cards, let's say that you have a 0% card that's about to expire. Well, we need to go and get more accounts for you to move that from 0% or from one card to the new 0% card. We've got to make sure that your personal credit scores are through the roof. And that's why the byproduct of going through our program is that you'll have high personal credit. And the point of it is so that we can get access to lots and lots of business credit. Now, it's really important which scoring module we're using. That's on us. When we look at your credit report, we're looking at your credit report using the latest scoring models. You can see that here with Beacon, with the FICO scoring module, the Fair Isaac. And so we're going to pull a tri-merge bank level credit report on you. And that's going to allow us to really understand your situation in depth. And there's a lot of data on a tri-merge report. I just want to show you guys the difference. So here's a tri-merge report here on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have a consumer report. Now, a consumer report, as you can see here, you only have this amount of data fields. And we're only seeing, so what is that, like maybe 6 or 7 data fields? And we're only seeing a 24-month payment history. 24 months from here to here. And so what happened about things that happened before that? It doesn't show up on your credit report. Whereas on a bank level credit report, it's completely calculated differently. So for example, let me show you some of the ins and outs of this. So let's take a look at this Chase account right here. So this Chase card is actually a credit card, and they are not reporting the credit limit. Do you see here? There's a 0 right here. They're not reporting the credit limit. So right now, the way that the algorithm reports this is that this card is $5,392 over its credit limit. This guy's scores are like down here. They're like down here. Why? Because he's $5,000 over limit. It doesn't matter what the size of it doesn't matter anything else going on in his credit report. He's $5,000 over credit limit. That is an error. That is a problem. Meanwhile, they gave him this card because he has good credit. They gave him a card with no limit. They gave him one of these fair and flexible cards, or some banks call them the no limit card, or they call it the open card. And they don't report the limit on purpose so that when this hits, your scores go down. And now it's way more likely that Chase gets paid because you now can't go and get credit from another bank.
And the banks, as soon as they see even $1 over the credit limit, they're going to decline.
Even $1, much less $5,000.
Yep.
So this right here is something that we get updated. We want to get this updated to like a $20,000 limit. Once we get that updated, you're now able to use 35% of that. So the golden rule is 35%. So if you have a credit card, let's say it's a $10,000 card, you can put up to $3,500 on that card before it starts pulling your scores down. If you go over the $3,500, which on a $10,000 card is 35%, then it starts to pull your scores down. This 35% ratio does not exist on business cards, only on personal cards. So on personal cards, we have to make sure that you are never violating that ratio. Otherwise, it's hard to do the card stacking process. Let's take another look. Let's look at this mortgage right here, this GMAC mortgage. This GMAC mortgage claims that it was opened 6/05. But yet, if you look over here in the historical reviewed field, and this is a little game the banks play, they have this separate field over here, historical status. But yet, they have a date field here. Why? Because this is the field that they let you look at. They let you look at the date open field. And so you look at it and say, look, it was open in 2005. It looks like it's correct. But over the historical status field, it's showing 1 month of seasoning. 1 month.
Yeah.
So you hear why his scores are in the gutter? It's because his mortgages is resetting the seasoning. Now, this has happened a lot during the downturn when one bank was bought out by another bank. They would reset the seasoning of the mortgages and the credit accounts that they bought, but that's illegal. They're not allowed to do that. So we get that type of stuff updated. When this right here matches this is going to say something like 99 months. The seasoning is going to shoot back up along with the client's credit scores. And there is just a variety of things that we could go over on this account that are like this. Suffice it to say that these fields here, the historical status field, it doesn't even show up in here. The only field that you would see is the date open field. The date open field, as we already demonstrated, is inaccurate. That's not the field they even use to calculate your season. We could spend all day going over reports and talking about different things. We can zoom in where you can see exactly what we're talking about, how they say 25 months, but yet it was open in 2007. That's not even accurate. That would be way over that. And yet, look what codes pop up. Proportion of balance of credit is too high. Time since most recent account opening is too short. It's not too short. It's because they shorted you. This should be saying 99 months. It should be at the maximum. So this is the kind of stuff that they're doing all day long to consumers. And what we do is we undo those things. We make it so that your scores are nice and high. And when you apply, or when we apply on your behalf, we're not walking uphill with a broken leg. We want to have all of your ducks in a row. We want to have everything set up so that when we apply for 4 or 5 credit accounts, we get approved, 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 approved. And then that way, our negotiators can then call the banks and negotiate on your behalf to get those approvals bumped up even higher. If we got a 10,000, a 20,000, a 12,000, and a 17,000, we want to bump each one of those up. And this is what we routinely do. This is the whole point of the negotiations process of what Fund&Grow does.
And you're going to learn about all of that information. If there's anything on your personal credit that we think needs to be fixed, you're going to hear about it during your one-on-one consultation with your representative.
So the first thing that we went over was the 30% ratio. Okay, 35% max, 30% optimal. Okay, and what we would like for you is to have good personal credit limits already. If you come into the program and you've already have all your credit accounts below 35%, you already have nice high credit limits, like you have some 10, 15, $20,000 cards. That's beautiful. If not, we can merge accounts together. We have a lot of clients that come to us. They have multiple Chase accounts or multiple Bank of America accounts or whatever. Sometimes when you're in line at a grocery or like a department store, they get you to apply for one of their credit cards. And so sometimes people just end up with multiple accounts from the same place. And what we can do is merge them together. And now you have less overall accounts, and the accounts that you do have, you have a higher limit because you've merged it together. Now you have double the limit or whatever those two limits are added together. So this is something that we do routinely in order to help maximize your personal credit. There's a lot of things that we can do that have nothing to do with credit repair. This has to do with credit enhancement, right? Taking good credit and making it great.
The 30%, just to be clear here, each credit card revolving account needs to be at or below 35%. The lower, the better. You're using that credit, it's going to show the high amount that you've used on that card from its lifetime. So if you've got a $5,000 card, you've maxed it out at one point, it's always going to show that you've used $4,900 on that account. The goal is to get it down below 35%. Obviously, the lower, the better.
So now if you do have legitimate bad credit, there's a partner company that we work with that we are part ownership in. They're called KDM Credit. And we've been working with them for a very long time. We're part of the management structure of that company. And we can tell you 100% that they stand behind what they do. They're a great company. And we've been sending clients to them for years. And they actually were only doing wholesale stuff for other companies like ours. And now they've recently opened it up where people can purchase directly from them as well, not only working together wholesale with companies like ours. So they are a excellent credit repair company. Credit repair, unfortunately, gets a very, very bad name. And Fund&Grow doesn't do any credit repair. So if credit repair is needed, we have to refer out to another company, and that is KDM. And KDM really does a great job for our clients.
And that, yeah, that includes inquiry removal as well. After every round of funding we made, we're definitely going to need to remove some inquiries. Like Ari mentioned before, the business credit doesn't show up on the personal credit report, but it is personally guaranteed, which means that the banks are going to pull your personal credit report. We will show you ways to remove those inquiries, or we will send you over to KDM at a discounted rate. But like Ari mentioned, we can't do anything with credit repair, but we can give you the recommendations to do it yourself or to work with KDM.
Yeah, and so we have so many clients that come to us and say, "I tried to apply on my own, and what are you guys doing? Is this magic? Do you have like some kind of magic wand that you're waving over my credit report? Like, what is it that you're doing that's different than what I'm doing?" And the real truth here is that we just have experience doing this for a very long time. This is what we do every day. Think of how many businesses there are out there that make a lot of money, and anyone could do those. Why isn't just anyone doing that? It takes a lot of energy to focus solely on one industry and to really become the best at that you possibly can be. And we feel that that's what we are here at Fund and Grow. We've focused on this industry, on helping clients, not on helping ourselves, but on helping get the maximum amounts of funding. That's what clients come to us for. And one thing that you'll hear hands down when you compare us to other companies is that we get the maximum amounts of funding. We get the most funding out of any of the other companies. The other companies are scared to do what we do. They're scared to actually get down into the pit with the client and to negotiate and get them the funding that they deserve. They just want to do it the easy way. Just do the applications and make the client do the rest. Mm-mm. We get you that funding. In fact, our negotiators get paid on how much funding they get you. So they're not going to even get their commissions unless they get you funding. So if there's a negotiator working on your file, they're not getting paid anything until they get you funding. Until they get you funding. And not even the approval amounts. If they apply and get you approved for something, they don't get paid for that. They only get paid on the amount, the difference. If they negotiate a difference and get a higher amount. And that's the way we've internally set it up to incentivize the client getting the maximum amount of funding possible. And that's really what it is that we're all about.
Yeah, and that's where I started with the company as a negotiator, and it's really everybody gives it 100%. I focus on that team a lot, just like the rest of the teams, but they have little competitions between themselves to see who can get the most amount of funding, and money's the ultimate motivator, right? So they're definitely pushing for each and every one of you to get as much funding as possible.
Yeah, I love the competitions that you guys do. Jason actually puts on different competitions. They're just fun, like cornhole, different types of competitions that have to do with team building. Then competitions of who's getting the daily amount of funding, the weekly largest amount, the monthly largest amount. All of these things are fun and friendly competition to help push the team to do more and more and more. And ultimately, we're doing that for our clients. Now, of course, we're not trying to be totally self-serving here. We have a business to run, but we do that in an integrous and an honest way, because the more that we work for our client, the more that the word gets out, and that the clients then end up helping us build our overall name and everything else that we're doing here. So the negotiations team is huge. And what we're doing to maximize the amount of funding is unrivaled. It's not done in anywhere else. We don't know any other company that's doing that. And we have relationships with the banks, which make it even easier for us to do this negotiations process and for us to get you even more amount of funding, or even more larger amounts of funding. So removing inquiries is important. Now we've touched on this, just like we've touched on all the links of the chain that make up the funding process, but getting the inquiries removed after each batch is important. And we actually provide that technology to all of our clients. So you will walk away from our program knowing how to remove inquiries for credit accounts that have converted into a business credit card. You'll know how to do that from now on. This is like a gift that keeps giving. We don't just do it for you and hoard the magic. We literally are going to teach you how to do it so that you can continue doing that inquiry removal process for credit accounts that have converted into a business credit card. So here we have a client give us their story on how they bought real estate, and they bought that using our process, using our credit cards, and they were able to do that with a wire transfer. Is that right?
Yeah, they went through plastic. They were actually able to buy their property as a cash deal just by using the wire transfer.
And plastic is one of the payment services that helps facilitate using a credit card to pay whoever, whatever, wherever you want to. So you swipe it with them, they send a check to the vendor that you're working with. And we work with a lot of the biggest names in the industry, whether it be in real estate or e-commerce. And you can see there might be names on the screen that you recognize. You may have met us through one of the many people on the screen, or you may already have heard of them. Now, the last thing that we want to go over is called corporate credit. So far we have discussed personal credit, we have discussed business credit, and business credit is personally guaranteed credit. So, but it doesn't appear on your personal credit report. So you have personal credit, which shows up on your personal report. Then you have business credit, which is personally guaranteed, but it does not appear on your personal credit report unless you should default. Then you have this third type of funding that we're just now bringing up, which is called corporate credit. Now, corporate credit is considered non-recourse because it has nothing to do with you personally. So it's non-PG funding, and it doesn't have anything to do with your social security number, doesn't have anything to do with your credit report. And this type of credit is built off of what's called your paydex score. And that's measured with Dun& Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet is a corporate credit bureau. And there's other corporate credit bureaus that have been popping up as of recent. One is called credit.com, and there's other business credit scoring companies out there. But Dun & Bradstreet is by far and large the largest one. And what we show you how to do is how to set up cards and accounts with those specific corporate vendors. And so while you can't get access to hundreds of thousands of dollars of credit cards, you can get access to large amounts of credit that can be used as a vendor within your company. For example, at places like the more lucrative places are like Home Depot, Amazon.com.
Ranger.
Great. Yeah. All these different industrial places that businesses will purchase from. So here we have another client.
And remember, really quick, this is completely different from business credit, the 0% interest business credit, and corporate credit. They're two different things. So remember that.
Yeah. And the corporate credit is not at 0%. So the corporate credit is these internal vendor trade lines that these other companies will give to businesses. And they can be very useful. I know here at Fund&Grow, we use them for various different things that we have to purchase when we're purchasing equipment and different things. And you pay it off within 30, 60, 90 days. And then they can also then eventually convert to revolving. But here we have a client, Joe, who talks about how he built up to 140,000, which was rocket fuel for his business. He says that our team is vested in our client's success. And he couldn't be more impressed with the follow through. So thank you for that, Joe. We have Al Lockhart with 125,000, and then we have that's on his second batch update. So he got 60,000 on his first batch, 100, and then up to 125,000 on his second batch. So that's beautiful. So two batches all in all for 125,000. That's amazing. So here's a snapshot of our Better Business Bureau profile. We have an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. I think we need to update this because we have way more than 813 customer reviews.
Yeah, we're over 1,000 now. You can check it out. Just go to BBB's website, search and look for Fund&Grow. We've been accredited since 2013, in business for over 14 years. We care about the feedback from our clients.
And you are going to see some negative reports on our Better Business Bureau. And if you Google real hard, you'll find some negative things. We literally have hundreds and hundreds of new clients signing up every single month. And what you will also find, along with all that Googling, is that you'll find that we stand behind every single client's situation that we've ever had. We want to make sure that every client is satisfied. We're absolutely not going to take any client's money or time without giving credit and without giving value for that. And so one of the things that you'll find 100% is that we want to work together with you. We want to get you funding. We actually have a 60-day money back guarantee, so that just within the first 60 days, if you're dissatisfied, you can get your money back. Now, very few clients are doing that because we really stand behind what we're doing. Very few clients utilize the 60-day money back guarantee. Some do. It does happen, but very few do because we are moving them forward so quickly. Once you get started, it's like a whirlwind of things happen to that start moving forward your process within the funding chain.
And we're going to give you that detailed plan too. So everybody knows what their individual plan is, a week into getting in, sometimes 3 to 4 days from signing up.
So now, just like within your industry, whatever it is that you do, there's probably things that you know better than anyone else that's not in that industry. So the same is true for us. We know which are the best lenders to use for your specific credit report. If you have XYZ lender, if you're in this specific footprint, meaning you're in this local geography within the company or country, it depends where you live. It depends your income level. It depends all these different variables will make it different. And what we do is look at our database and figure out how we believe you're going to get the best approval. So we know which are the best banks to go for. We know which ones are going to show up on your credit report. So which ones, like the Capital One business card the guy mentioned earlier, don't go for Capital One business. It's going to show up on your personal credit report. Don't even go after it. It's not worth using because it's just a glorified personal card if it shows up on your personal credit report. So we know all the different banks that will show up, the ones that won't show up. We know the local lending footprints of banks that only lend in specific states. So if you're in one of those states, we can get you even more funding by going to one of those banks.
Now, there will be instances where we will ask you if you want the Capital One business card. If we need to boost up your personal credit report and get you a high limit, that's an option that's on the table. But again, we are going to ask you, we are going to give you the banks that we are going to apply for. If you give us the okay, then we'll build your personal credit with a business card, or if we have to build it from the ground up and really build your personal credit report, we're going to let you know that first.
Exactly. So one thing that Jason's reiterating is that the client is left in charge of this entire process.
Mhm.
So everyone's profile, everyone's situation scenario is slightly different. And so when you're on the phone with your advisor, and they're doing hundreds of these every single week, they are going to go over the specific plan that's going to work for you, your business, your credit profile, your credit partner the best. And so we want to get you the maximum amount of funding. All the people that are working on your profile here at Fund&Grow want to get you the most so that they get paid the most on their negotiations. So
just listen to them, please. I mean, the recommendations are for your help to get you in a better position to be lendable.
So by now you can see that we are very serious about what we do. And we've taken all of these parts of the process and listed them out here individually so that you can see if you were to go and try to purchase these or try to do these on your own, what they're going to cost you. What you're going to have to give up to get access to all of this together would literally be over $10,000. And we've been doing this for a very long time. We actually used to charge hourly for this. We used to charge $1,500 an hour to do this, and it could easily take 15, 20, 30 hours for each individual client. And so at this point, we've now consolidated this down into a package where we're doing this en masse. We're doing so many clients all at one time, and we're putting many, many people through. We're doing lots of negotiations. We're just pounding them out one after the next. So we put this all together down into a membership that is much cheaper than the $10,000. Now, not only do we have a special deal lined up for everyone who's joining us today, but we also have a free giveaway. And that giveaway is an additional $8,000. And so that is what we call our membership partner upgrade. So we're going to be doing this not only for you, if you get started, but for a whole nother business as well. So you're going to be able to add a partner to your profile, and we're going to be able to double the results for you by adding in a partner. So that's what the membership partner upgrade is. So the last bonus that we have is our newsletter archive. Now, this is a $50 per month program. All clients are automatically signed up into this when you get started, but we're going to give you the first month free. That way you can go into the database, you can look at all of our past articles, you can see how me and my team have built Fund&Grow to where it is today. We are last year we did 17 million all in all in terms of our revenue. We're doing 18 to 19 million a month in funding. That's as far as what we're bringing to the table for our clients as far as funding. And so all of how we did that, how we did our marketing, how we did our advertising, how we built our team, what types of insurance do we use, and a variety of other things on how we built our company to a $17 million this year, hopefully a $20 million company. And all of that is covered inside our newsletter archive. So we have all the past articles which show all the different things that we've been doing, our psychology on how we built Fund and Grow to where it is today. And we encourage everyone to go and to look at the newsletter archive to be part of that program. And we're giving everyone who gets started today the first month free, which is a $50 value, and you can get access to the entire archive. So again, we want to quickly recap what's all included. And that is, we talked about the entity, with an entity with a safe name and lendable industry. So you're going to have everything you need to get access to the funding. The only thing that you need is a credit profile. So we're going to create the entity. We're going to be doing the credit building, which is our team actually is going to do the applications and the negotiations to build you up to the 50 and 250,000. The credit consulting is what our people do with you to help you understand what it is that we're doing on your behalf. Then we already talked about the inquiry removal, how you're going to get access to that technology from now on. It's something that you're going to walk away with. We're going to also show you how the wire transfer programs work, how you can get cash directly off the credit account and send it to any business that you're working with, whether they accept credit card or not. You can do that through wire. You can do that through check. So we're going to show you how that, all of that's included. And then the bonuses that we just mentioned, the free partner upgrade at $8,000 value, as well as the premium newsletter. So all of that is what you're getting today. And this is the entire package, the entire bundle put together, everything added up. And today we are doing this entire package. If you add up our bonuses, it's almost a $20,000 value for $3,497. So if you browse to fundandgrow.com/2021, you're going to get access to this at the $3,500 price point. And it is important to mention that with inflation and with how the current economics are affecting the whole market, we will be having to put up our price soon. And it may be going as high as $5,000. And so, we unfortunately, we have been inundated with new clients, and we've been trying to keep up with hiring people because we want to keep our service premium. And so we are in the future going to be forced to have to raise our price. But as of now, we are still at $3,500. And so $3,500 is the price that you pay if you want to pay it in one payment. If you want to pay it in two payments, you can pay two payments of $1,874. And if you want to pay it in three payments, you could do it in three payments of $1,332. Obviously, if you're paying with the payment plans, it ends up being more than $3,497 because you're paying on payment plans. So you could choose to pay upfront right now, $3,497, or you could pay with the payments. Now, again, the link to go to is fundandgrow.com/2021. And the website that you see on your screen will come up. And you can choose whether you want to do it in one payment or whether or not you want to do it in two payments. And you can also split up into multiple credit cards if you need to. It's going to give you the option where if you'd like to split even the one payment between two credit cards, that's no problem. Or between, I think, even three credit cards, it'll allow you to do that. So that's up to you. But again, you have to go to fundandgrow.com/2021. You can see we have Lori, Nick, Richard are all mentioning how they got credit.
With the payment plans, like Ari mentioned, if you pay before the 30th day, you'll be able to save the finance fees. So there's finance fees built into that, into those payment plans. If you pay before the 30th day, you'll get the $3,497 price. Everybody right now is getting the $500 discount if you sign up today. But if you go into the payment plans, there are built-in finance fees there. So make sure you pay before the 30th day. On the 30th day, your second payment will run automatically. So make sure that if you want to get the full discount, not have to pay finance fees, pay before that 30th day.
And if you are unable to pay before then it's no problem for you to pay the second or third payment. But what Jason's saying is that we give you the option where you can just log into your account and you can just pay the payment before 30 days, and then you don't even have to pay the second or third payment, and you could pay it without paying the finance charge. So the point is to help people get into the program. We're not trying to beat people over the head. We want people to be able to get into the program, but we're already offering this at pennies on the dollar. This is very inexpensive access to funding. You could go to a bank and they could end up charging you more directly. So, facts about the membership: we do the process for you. So, but we consult with you as we move forward. We're going to coach you the entire way. We're going to coach you how to get the credit off the card. We're going to coach you how to remove the credit inquiries. We're going to coach you when it comes to what type of, if anything needs changed around on your personal credit report. Many of the things we can do on our own. There are going to be some things that we need to coach you on to get your help with. So now we're in it for 12 months. Sometimes ends up being 13 months just for the average client. And so our process and point is to get you 250,000 plus. There's many clients that are getting 300,000 and more in that same 12-month period of time because they're closely working together with us. So if you closely work together with us, you too can get access to a lot. And we'd like to say that we're holding your hand the whole way, but the reality is that most clients just work together with us very closely.
Yep.
It's not that difficult. If you receive an email, communicate back. Most clients are already involved in a professional business, and so that is just second nature
Things
already.
they'll move so much faster for you as well. If we're asking for something, the quicker you get it back to us, the quicker you're going to get the funding and move forward to your next step.
And we have clients that are using this funding for all types of things, from buying real estate, whether they're buying and holding, whether they're rehabbing. It doesn't matter what type of real estate you're doing, you're going to need access to funds. And the other more traditional forms of funding for real estate is extremely costly. So the question is, do you want to use costly funding, or would you like to use funding that's going to actually work for you? So we have clients that are using this to build their business. They're doing marketing campaigns and they're building their business brands. They're doing car wraps and flyers and business cards. We have clients that are using this to attend seminars. As you know, seminars can be quite costly. We just sent some of our executives to a seminar. I think it was over 2,000 per person or around that. And so seminars can be quite costly. And when you go, many times there's services or there's items that you may want to purchase that go along hand in hand with why you went to the seminar in the first place in order to accomplish that specific task or aspect of your company. And so you need access to funding regardless of what part of your company that you're working on, whether you're looking to do marketing and advertising and expand your company, or whether you're operating within your company, you just need to buy inventory. It doesn't matter. Whatever side of it, using your business credit, you're going to be better off than using your cash and using your own bank account. You're always better off using other people's money than using your own, and you're going to get cash back, get paid rewards for that, be able to get airline miles. That is huge. And we also threw in there assist family in consolidating pay down loans. We do have clients that will work with family members to help them pay down what's on their personal credit to get it off their personal onto the business credit so that their personal scores can raise. So a lot of clients are just carrying debt on their personal credit report. Well, you can move that onto a business card and your personal scores go up.
It's scary how many of our clients come in with a lot of debt on their personal report, and it's all business. It's really dropping scores down. We'll show ways on how to consolidate that debt, get it off of the personal. Their credit scores jump into the high sevens, into the 800s very easily. Very small things that can be done to do that.
Yeah, folks, you don't want to use your personal credit for business. And I wrote a book about it, it's a Fund and Grow book, and we talk specifically about why you need to use business credit when you're investing in your business. Why the 35% ratio matters so much. When you're using your personal credit, you're torpedoing your future. You're stopping your own growth. And then you have to turn to equity partners and hard money loans. And then you think that you can't do it and all of these hard things. When the reality is, if you keep your personal scores in a good ratio or in a good range, you're going to be able to get access to lots and lots of funding. And it's going to be a lot easier than you think. And at that point, you're going to make sure that you never, ever hurt your credit or hold too much against your credit personally instead of on the business side. So there's lots of different things that you can do with the credit, as we've already been mentioning, from marketing to purchasing inventory. So we're going to take just a moment to play a short interview that we have with one of our clients who received 450,000 in business credit in total. and what he did with the funding. And so let's just go ahead. And he grew his business from 40,000 a month up to 400,000 a month after getting business credit. That's not my words. That's Nick's words. So let's go ahead and play that.
Yeah, and Nick's actually starting his third membership with us. So it's not just the 12 months. You can come back to us multiple times and allow us to continue to build that business credit. Obviously, it's working for Nick, over $400,000 in 0% interest credit, and he's 10x his business. We are the real deal. We know what we're talking about, and we know what it takes to get the funding.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. So, Plastic is one of, and you can see here on your screen that we're showing the service Plastic, and they are one of the payment services that help if you are trying to pay a company that does not accept credit cards. So, if you have a business credit card and you have $50,000 that you can spend, and you're trying to get a new roof put on your this new rental that you just purchased or a rehab, and the roofing company doesn't accept credit card, you now can go to Plastic, you run your card with them, they send a check to the roofing company, or they could even wire transfer them. Mostly in that scenario, it would more likely be a check. Perhaps if you're buying real estate with the title agency, you would wire the money to them right from the credit card. So Plastic is a perfect service for doing that. It can help you, whether it be real estate, whether it be any other company. And there's another service called Melio, and Melio Payments is the same thing as Plastic. There's just another service. You know, you could use Plastic, you could use Melio. We have clients using both, and they make it very easy to be able to spend your credit card with a business that does not accept credit cards.
Right. And remember, it's not pulling cash off of these cards. You're not taking the cards to the banks and pulling the cash off and paying, anywhere between 25 and 29% for a cash advance that then turns into not 0%. You're taking the card, paying Plastic, and Plastic is wiring the funds on your behalf to whoever you're paying, whether it's the closing attorney, the contractor, like Ari mentioned, whoever it is that you're paying, as long as you're not paying yourself or a family member or your own business, you can do this. You can use Plastic in those types of ways.
So now it's important to mention that our service is usually a $4,000 service. So we have clients that are spending $4,000 every single day, but right now this is going for $34.97. So we have a $500 discount for anyone that gets started right now. We have a $500 discount, total savings, to be able to save $500 right now. And that's what the $500 discount for the 12-month membership is. So if you go to our website, you'll see that our service is 4,000. And as I was just mentioning, it's more likely going to be going up to 5,000 very soon. With inflation and the amount of clients that are signing up, it's just going up. It's just going up faster than we can hire people, and that we have space in our building. So our only option is to put up the price of the service so we can slow down the incoming amount of clients that are getting started, and we can continue to give premium service to our existing clients and to the clients that are already part of our program.
Real quick, there's some questions coming through on the platform. Evelyn asked earlier, what's the interest rates on the funding? They're all at 0% for the introductory period, anywhere between 6 and 20 months. Once that's done, it all depends on your personal credit profile. Usually it ranges anywhere between 12 and 18%. Some could be a little bit higher, just depending on what kind of credit profile you have. Our goal is to get you a better credit score, which will then bring that interest rate down. Um, what will be the interest rate after the 12 to 18 months? We've already talked about that one. Access to funding. Yeah, send your questions through. If you have any questions, please let us know so that we can answer those for you. Can you pay virtual assistants? Yes, as long as they have a business. As long as it's not, if they have an invoice that you can show that it is business to business, you can pay a virtual assistant. Can I go to applications without getting credit repair done? Will I get business credit? It all depends on what's on your personal credit. We really got to look and see what's going on there. I mean, if you've got bankruptcies, charge-offs, late payments from last month, probably not. But if you have older derogatories, if you've got um, like old late payments, if you've got a few inquiries, yeah, we could probably move right into business funding. But to answer it, it's really hard without us seeing what's going on with your credit report,
Yeah,
Emma.
like an attorney, we need to see your credit report in black and white before we can tell you, what it is. We're not like your grandma, and we can't just say like, no, we do. Like we have to actually see it in its specific form to be able to answer that question. We'd like to just tell you yes, but the reality is there's enough programs out there that will blow smoke up the wrong tree or whatnot to tell you what you want to hear. We may not tell you what you want to hear, but we'll tell you what the truth is.
G-Man asked, I tried to get business credit for my business, but they keep offering secure credit card for my business. They're looking at your personal. They want to see how long you've been established with some of these lenders. We usually go after the same lenders to build that relationship. The other thing that would help with that is corporate credit. The banks also want to see that your business is established. That's why we have the DIY corporate credit program, and we ask you to start working on that the day you sign up, so you can build that paydex score that shows that the business is actually spending money. And if you don't have any existing business credit, for one, we know ways to get around that excuse, but to make it extremely easy on yourself, sign up, go through that do-it-yourself corporate credit program, and that takes care of the business profile and builds that history.
Yep. So here we have Scott talking about the 80,000 in funding he got, and Larry talking about the 59,000 on his first round at 0%. That was just on his first round. And Curtis talking about how Giovanni completely has been awesome and laying out the entire business credit process clearly for him. So this is like comment of what you're going to hear from our clients. So we have Kevin here talking about getting 108,000 in his first round of funding, and he's thanking Donna, who was his consultant that worked with him. So thank you, Donna, for getting 108,000 for Kevin. That's freaking awesome. So and then we have Dylan here with 231,000, and that was after how many rounds?
Two more
In
to
our
go.
first, that's the first batch of funding. They got us 231,000 worth of credit within our first batch of funding, which means we still have two more rounds to go. So Dylan's pretty excited. He probably has a credit partner to get 231,000 on his first round. And so everyone who's on the call right now, you can get that free partner upgrade.
If you can see his second line, it says, although starting out, I was very skeptical and worried about the amount of info they were gathering in order to negotiate. We need that information.
Mhm.
But I'm sure there's a lot of people watching right now that they're skeptical. Is Fund and Grow the real deal? Do they know what they're doing? Do they know what they're talking about? These reviews here should say it all. Us being in business for 14 years says it all. Give us a call. Talk to us. We're real people. We're sitting here in the flesh. We're in Spring Hill, Florida. If you're in the area, you can stop by the building. We're definitely the real deal, and we know what we're talking about. We know how to get you that 128,000, that $200,000 that you're looking for.
Yep. And we're just flipping through them here. So Sarah's talking about 90,000. Uh, and if you guys go online and do a quick search, you'll find our So Tell Us. This is a whole nother service called So Tell Us. And we have over 2,400 reviews. You can see up here, 4.9 star out of 2,400 reviews. We work hard for this stuff, guys. Like this isn't something that just comes from doing some webinars or something. It's taken us a lot of work with a lot of clients for many, 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 many years, toiling in obscurity, to now be here today, talking about these large numbers and the large amounts of funding, the large amounts of clients. And it's taken us a long time to get to this point, but we're very proud of all of what we've done as far as the amount of funding, over $1 billion. How many we've served almost 30,000 businesses in America, and our rating on the Better Business Bureau, and just being part of our local chamber of commerce and everything that we do locally to help our community, what we do to help all the different communities of all the businesses that are involved with our program. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of different businesses every month getting funding through our program. We're talking over 60 families involved. Well, that are our employees that are in, that is all part of this. When you're working with us, you're helping those families. We're helping all of our clients. We're getting access to so much amount of funding that's being injected into the economy. This is the stuff that we love. We're entrepreneurial here, and this is what we're trying to push out there. It's interesting that hundreds of years ago, when America was founded, almost everyone in some way was a business owner, maybe a farmer or a trader, or they were somehow directly selling their service or product. And now, fast forward hundreds of years, and 99% of the people work for a company. They are no longer directly selling their service or their product. And we would like to think that we're putting people back in charge of their destinies and their futures for them to be able to directly sell their service and product. And sometimes that means you need a little capital. So again, this is the membership that we put together. So this is the funding process, and you start right here, and you work your way around the board this way. So you start with Fund and Grow. You get access to the portal. You complete your information. We do your review. This is where we start working on your stuff. Then we start improving your overall lendability, and this is sometimes working together with you.
Yep. And step 4 is about 3 or 4 days after you signed up. So the most important thing is when you have access to your client portal, the sooner you fill out your personal and business information, the sooner you are going to get to step 4, and then into step 5, into step 6.
And of course, step 6 is where you want to get to, applications and negotiations, so that we can start getting you that funding. We can get you 100,000, 200, whatever it is that you're going to get on your first batch. Then utilizing funding and removing inquiries. Of course, we're going to help you with that. How do how if there's a business that you need to pay that doesn't accept credit cards, we're going to help you with that. We're going to help you utilize the funding. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to tell you where to spend it. That means when you have determined where you would like to spend it, we will help you facilitate that to make sure that the business credit card can be used for that particular application, so that you can spend the card, because it's a business credit card. If they don't accept credit or credit cards, then how do you spend it? Well, that's where the payment services that we talked about come in play, where you can spend with any business, regardless of whether they accept credit cards, using one of the many business payment services that are available.
And to make this even clearer, we're not going to spend it for you. We have clients come in asking how much we're going to spend on their accounts. We do not touch that account. We don't spend any money on the account. We may ask for the information so that we can go in and negotiate higher limits, but by no means do we touch the spending on your account.
So then we do the whole process over. We re-review your lendability, and we go back and we do more applications. That's what obtaining higher funding amounts is us negotiating. And we do this process over and over again until we've built you up to and over $250,000 of funding. And this is the whole process in a nutshell.
Step 5 there, the recommendations, improving your overall lendability. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. Our staff out here is trained to put you in the best position possible to obtain that $250,000. We know what it takes. It could be something extremely small that may take a little bit of time to do so. We're not going to start the clock until you're ready to go with that recommendation, whether it's an inquiry, whether it's a small pay down, credit repair, whatever the case is. Just listen to the staff member, to the recommendation that they're giving you, because it is going to put you in a better position overall. We don't want to just apply to apply. It doesn't make sense for us. It doesn't make sense for you. We don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste our time. So we're going to put you into that best position. Just listen to our recommendations.
And that will put you in between applying batches. That'll put you in a better personal credit situation. After the program, it'll put you in a better credit situation. No matter what, by listening to our instructions in this, we're gonna be putting your personal credit in the best possible scenario because that's what makes it easy for us to get you access to more funding. And that's the whole point of what we're doing here is to make our job to get you funding as easy as possible.
S Cheese asked, I need at least 50K for my business. Can I use business credit for my Etsy business? Or I need inventory. Absolutely. That's a really good way to do it. E-commerce is huge right now. The way that you would do it is basically get paid from your clients. You would purchase the inventory with the business credit card, collect the rewards, the cashback rewards, and then just pay it back with the money that you're getting from your client, and still have the money left over for your business.
Beautiful. So it's important to mention that most funding is tied to assets, meaning that the funding is guaranteed by the asset itself. For example, a car loan is tied to the asset, a mortgage is tied to the asset. This type of funding is considered unsecured. So, God forbid you're unable to make their payment, they're not going to be taking away whatever you purchased with the business credit card. You will get a negative mark on your credit report if you don't pay it, but they're not going to, let's say you bought company vans with the business credit accounts. They're not going to be able to take the vans away because what you purchased is unsecured because the credit accounts themselves are unsecured. They're not like a mortgage. They're not tied to the asset. They're not like a auto loan, which is tied to the asset. They are unsecured. They are not secured to any asset. So if you should buy a rental property, and I know in many parts of the country you can't buy a rental property with, if you're 50, 100, 20, 200,000, but in many parts of the country you can. So let's say that you bought a rental property for 100,000 on business credit cards, and God forbid you're unable to make the payments. Well, they're not going to take the rental property. So at least the property can continue to cash flow. Think about it. Your rental van or your property or whatever it is that you buy with the credit accounts will not be taken away. So theoretically, your cash flow continues even if you're unable to make the payment. And of course, we're not in any way advocating that people don't pay off what they owe. We in fact are advocating for you to pay it off so that we can have an easier time to get you even more and more funding.
Lee asked, I have two recent Experian and hard inquiries. Is it possible for Fund and Grow to get me funding 50K in 2 weeks? I have all my built foundations of business. I've been in business 7 years, over 720, less than 30% utilization. Everything sounds great, Lee. Sign up. Give us 3 or 4 days. We'll review your whole portfolio, your whole credit profile, and we'll get you business funding as quickly as possible. I can't guarantee anything. Again, we have to see everything on your credit profile. Make sure that everything's in good standing on your business side. Make sure there's no surprises on your personal credit report. But what you're describing to me, absolutely. Sign up now. Let us give you the plan, and we'll make it work for you one way or the other.
So on the screen here, you can see some actual examples. Here's a client that got a $40,000 card. Now, when this client first got approved for this, they received a letter in the mail saying that it was approved for 25,000. Then by the time they got the card, and the card was right here, by the time they got the card, it said 40,000 because that's the way our negotiations process went. We applied, we got approved for X amount. Then we got it negotiated to 25,000. Then by the time the client got the card, we had already negotiated it up to 40,000. It takes about 5 to 6 days sometimes for people to get mail, and we've already done multiple negotiations in that period of time. So here's another example of a client that got 30,000 from Fifth Third. This is one of the many banks that we use, and there's so many different banks that we work with that it's depending on your geographical footprint of where you live, it could be different. You may not go to any of those banks, or you might go to a completely different set of banks. But here's a good example of a client that we applied for that when we initially applied, you see this in the initial column? This is internal to our CRM, by the way, guys. So this is inside our customer relations management. You can see we have a lot of stuff marked out here so that you can see the client's personal info. But when we first applied, This client got declinations on everything. It was decline, 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 decline. But by the time we were done, they had received a 45,000, a 15,000, a 10,000, and a 42,000 for a total of 112,000 in funding. And this is very, very common for what we do, folks. All these initial declinations could have been over very small things. They could have said, "Oh, well, we saw this in credit inquiry, we had questions for you," or "We saw this, account that was over limit," and then we have to explain, "No, that's an open account." You remember what we talked about earlier, guys? Where there's these no limit credit card accounts. There's all types of things that our negotiators have to combat with the underwriters in order to get you this approval. And this is a perfect example of that, of 112,000 versus decline. And this could happen to you too. So this is pretty common across the board. Here we have another one where it's all declinations. And then by the time we're done, it's 62,500. And look, this one still stayed declined. This one still stayed declined. But we were able to get an approval for this, a 25, a 26, and an 11.5. That's huge. That's $62,000 worth of funding this client was able to get for their business that they would not have got otherwise. When if you or anyone else had gone and applied, this is what they got. They got zeros. They got declined. It wasn't until our negotiators did what most people do not do, which is call the banks, negotiate, call them over and over, speak to different negotiators, to different underwriters within the bank, within whatever specific bank that is, until we get an approval. We keep on pleading our case. We're not saying anything disingenuous. We're 100% correctly representing the client's business. We're doing everything 100% above board. There's nothing that we're recommending that is disingenuous in any way. The key here is determination and continuing to follow up. If the client has fairly good credit, we're going to be able to get you an approved.
Yeah, Hustle with Julian even asked, how do you guys get in contact with the underwriters? Can anyone do it? Anyone can do it. The question is, do you want to do it? Would you rather leave it up to the experts? Like here, there's a picture of one of our account managers, one of our negotiators, Zach. They're on the line. Some of these bank hold times are very long. Chase right now to get in touch with certain departments is over 2 hours. Our account managers know how to get around those hold times. They know how to make multiple phone calls at the same time to negotiate for different banks at the same time on your behalf. That's how we hit the 19 million last month. If you can see this table here.
So, guys, I just want to quickly point this out. Now, this was made a couple days ago, before we hit the 5 million from last week. But this week here actually ended up being a 5 million week. So what you're seeing here is our credit gained. So here you're seeing the daily total, seeing the weekly totals, and down here you're seeing the monthly. So last month you can see we hit the 19 million. The month before that was at 15.1. The month before that was at 16.6, and so on and so forth. Then during the pandemic it was lower, and then if we could show the rest of what's below here, you'd see it went back up to 14, 15, 16 million, just like it was before the pandemic. So these numbers are representative of what we're bringing in every week, every month, and every day. However, I have something I want to show you here. So this first column here is the auto approved column. So the auto approved is what we get when we're first just applying for the client. So when we apply for the client, this is what we got. So on this particular day, we got 191,000, but then the negotiations bumped it up by 508,000 for a total of 700,000 that day. So the day before that, on Friday, the 824,000. This 824,000 is broken down by almost 500,000 in auto approvals and 325,000 from negotiated approvals. And the day before that, let's take a look at this. 341,000 came from the auto approvals. 341,000. Then 495, or almost 500, almost $500,000 came from us negotiating. Then you add those two numbers together. Add these two numbers together, you get the 837. Sorry, my lines are a little bit horrible, but you get the 837. And so the point that I'm trying to make here is if you negotiated amounts, you will find that by far and large, this is the majority of the funding. The auto approved amounts for last month, 451 for auto, 5.3 million for negotiated. Look at that. Last month, before that, 8.5 for the auto approval. So when we just applied, after we got the client in a good situation, their credit report as good as possible, we got 8.5 million. And then we negotiated and added an additional 10.7 million for a total of 19 million. So you have to add the 10 and the 8.5 for the 19. And so the point is that the negotiations makes the lion's share of the difference. The auto approval amounts on a monthly basis is always lower than the negotiated amounts. On a daily basis, it might fluctuate a little bit, but on a monthly basis, the majority of funding coming in comes from the negotiated amounts. And this we track every single credit account, every single negotiation individually. So this is something that we're very good at doing because our negotiators get paid based off of the difference they get for the client.
And they submit about 2,500 credit applications a month. And to get through what they're doing, they have to stay on the phone constantly. So if you're reaching out to your account manager, we're going to transfer you over to our client relations team. They'll be able to answer any question that you have. So our account managers will be able to stay on the line with the banks to get you the funding. The account managers will reach out to you in the beginning. They'll reach out to you and give you updates every time they have an update. But if you have questions for your account manager, once you get to that point, you'll be able to get an answer from anybody in the building. You don't have to rely on just one person because we do know that sometimes you're not going to get that answer right away. If you have a question, you call us immediately. We have a live chat feature that's on our website now. We have the email address, processing@fundandgrow.com. We have a brand new improved call queue system that allows you to call and get a call back if we're having a heavy call day. Our customer service, we really spend a lot of money to build that out to better the communication with our clients.
Now you might ask, well, what if I don't qualify? Well, there's a variety of different things that we can do to help you qualify. And one of those things is working on your corporate credit. Your corporate credit is something that's independent. It doesn't have anything to do with your personal credit. So while we're helping you with your personal credit through one of our affiliates, we can help with your corporate credit building. Corporate credit will come in regardless. And so we can help you with the credit restoration through one of our third parties, which we can secure massive discounts with that company because we're part owners in it. Then that's the KDM Credit Help Company. And if you do need credit repair, your Fund and Grow time is put on hold. If you've paid Fund and Grow, even if you've only paid the first payment, we don't just run out the clock while you're in credit repair. So if it takes 5 months to do credit repair, your 5 months of Fund and Grow is put on hold. You don't lose any time by being in the credit repair. And that's if you work with KDM Credit Help because they're a trusted partner with us that we've worked with for a long time. And so that we know that the way that they're doing credit repair is, first of all, above board, legitimate, and they are aggressive. They're one of the most aggressive credit repair companies that we've ever found and seen. And the way that they do what they do is just absolutely amazing. They have this 4-channel dispute process where instead of just sending letters in over and over like most credit repair companies do, they will do an online internet dispute, or they'll do a fax dispute, or they'll do the old mail dispute, or they'll do a verbal phone dispute. You might ask, well, what difference does it make? What's the point? Well, you have 4 different channels, and the people that open the letters and read the letters, they're going to interpret things different than the online geek people and when you're doing an online dispute, or the people that are looking at incoming fax disputes. They're different than the people that are going to be answering the phone, that are trained to deal with people through phone conversation. All of these different departments treat the disputes differently. There's 4 different departments that all treat the disputes differently, slightly differently. And just like with the way that we call and get negotiations and pump up the amount of credit for the banks, this is what the credit repair company KDM does when it comes to the 4 different channels and ways to dispute with the credit bureaus. And so You may have been working with a credit repair company that's just doing one of those four ways over and over and over, and they're just spinning their wheels, not getting anything done. Well, KDM will get it off in just a few short months because they're using these different channels, and they're what one department won't do, another department many times will do. And so they just keep trying over and over again, but not through the same channel. They try through a different channel. And so that's a really important thing to do to understand about credit repair is you don't want to just keep walking uphill with a broken leg. You don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So you need to do it differently. And that's what we do at Fund and Grow through the negotiations process. And that's what they do at KDM through the credit repair process.
Direct Home Advisors is asking, will this program work if I have 19 inquiries across the three bureaus of the last 2 years with 14 new accounts opened in that time frame? His scores are mid 700s. It depends on what the rest of your credit profile looks like. Really, 14 new accounts, it's going to drop the average age of your accounts down. The banks want to make sure that you're not at risk. Having that many new accounts on your personal credit profile, they're going to look at it as a risk. Can you handle those brand new 14 accounts? But it doesn't mean that we can't help you. For one, while we're seasoning, we can help you with your business entity, like Ari was talking about before. We can help you with this slide that's up right now, the corporate credit piece. That's going to help build your business profile as well while we're letting those new accounts season. Then we can go after the business credit at that point. My advice to you, direct home advisors, is yes, to sign up, take advantage of the corporate credit. Let's let those new accounts season, but also give us the opportunity to see your whole profile. We don't know what we can do without really digging into everything that you have tied to your name, tied to your personal, tied to your business, how long your business has been open. But this program here can help anybody. You know, whether you need to go through the credit repair stage, whether you need help to enhance your credit, or you're ready to go right for business, Fund and Grow can help you right away in one way or another.
So as we mentioned with the corporate credit, it's non-recourse. You're going to start. You'll start with the vendor trade lines, meaning that the business that you're trying to purchase from will extend you credit based off of the Dun and Bradstreet Paydex scoring system. So that could be Granger or Uline Shipping or one of many places that will directly extend credit based off of Paydex. Now, another place that will do that is the banks. The banks will give you corporate credit mortgages. So I've personally bought two different office buildings using only corporate credit, not using my personal name at all. So the Fund and Grow building, as well as another office building. And both of those buildings are purchased using corporate credit, not using business credit, not using my personal credit, not using a mortgage, or using a mortgage, but a corporate credit mortgage, which is non recourse. Didn't have anything to do with my social security number, didn't have anything to do with my credit report. It was a corporate credit mortgage. And so this type of loan is beautiful because when you build up your corporate credit, you're going to get access to be able to get auto loans and commercial loans such as this where you're not even having to personally guarantee it. You don't even have to personally show your credit report or your social security number. It's a non-PG loan or non-personally guaranteed loan. And this is what Fund and Grow uses. And this is what I personally use because I built up my corporate credit. Have I built up my business credit? Yes. But I've also built up my corporate credit, which allows me to buy vehicles or properties, all using non-PG loans. And that is a beautiful thing. Here's the office building that we bought. You probably saw the picture of us earlier with the whole team in front of it. This again was bought using corporate credit.
Let's run through a few more questions. Jessica Dewberry, what about when you have student loans on your credit report, all in good standing, consolidated, but high balances? How do you work with clients like this? Those are fine. A lot of people in the US have high student loan debt. It's just a nature of the beast. A lot of people weren't taught about student loans. They went to college, they pulled out a lot of money, myself included. As long as there's no late payments on there, any recent late payments, we can work around those. But again, it all depends on what else is on your personal credit profile. Uh, Brett R says recently got 30K. Thanks, guys. Fantastic, Brett. Appreciate that. Um,
What's Direct Home Advisor's question above?
we already answered that one.
Okay.
It's this one here.
Sweet. So I just wanted to mention at one of the recent conferences that we were at that we sponsored the purchase of how many homes was it in Haiti?
I believe we started with one, this one, but I think we were doing another one. I believe it was one for right now.
Awesome. So,
But that one home it fits 8 people. Basically, what they were living in is a mud house. So they build their houses out of mud and they put sticks on the roof. So you're getting all kinds of rodents and all kinds of things coming in. It's definitely not going to keep out the rain, as you can see. What we did was took that business credit. We were able to purchase a property in Haiti that'll feed or sleep 8 people and give them the beds and the supplies that they need to be able to sleep not on the ground like they were doing in that mud hut. So we definitely care about people that we don't even meet. We want to help everywhere that we possibly can.
and that was through Frank McKinney's program. And so you can see here in the background the newer, nicer homes that are being built. And then here on the left, of course, the homes that they were in. And we've only done one of those, but the Frank McKinney's program has done many of them. And so they deserve the real credit. We just helped with one home.
Elise asks, can you transfer existing business credit card debts onto new cards? Yes. Some of the accounts actually come with 0% for balance transfers. Not many anymore, but there are some accounts that do allow that. That way you can get the 0% on that. The other thing is once you use the accounts for a little bit of time, 3-4 months, they'll start to send you some of the balance transfer checks, the cash advance checks that you can use and actually get 0%. I think they're called the convenience checks. You'll get 0% on the funding that you pull out.
So Field says, uh, I got 75,000 second round, 20,000 on American Express alone. I'm balling. 0% interest for 12 months. The banks. Fund&Grow fee is chump change in comparison to what you'll get. Yeah, I agree. He also says KDM got rid of all my inquiries, cleaned my address up and telephone numbers. Some of you guys have thousands of inquiries with bad credit and expect it to be cleaned up in 1 month, but it takes time.
He's right. It doesn't happen overnight. Even the business credit process. That's why we don't do one round. We do 12 months. We want to make sure that we put you in the best position. We get as much funding as we possibly can. Credit repair is the same way. It takes the dispute cycle for credit repair takes about 30 to 45 days, just like our negotiations and application. That process takes about 30 to 45 days to get the most we can out of the underwriters and get you the highest limits.
So here's some examples of how Fund&Grow leverages the capital, and every different business is going to be using it for different items, but we use it for advertising, for our paid ads, for vendor and commercial expenses when we're adding to our building or if we're expanding our parking lot, cutting down trees, in the surrounding property, to prepare for the storms that we get here in Florida all the time, or we're buying office supplies. We will use our business credit for all of those types of things. And anytime we use it, which is all the time, we're getting cash back and we're getting rewards.
When going for business credit, do you need to have corporate credit already? You do not. It's just a good thing to have. You can work on the corporate credit piece the whole way through your membership. It's just going to build your paydex score. It's going to give the bank something else to look at instead of just your personal credit and just the accounts that we're establishing after batch 1, batch 2, batch 3. The more you have for them to look at, the better off it's going to be. It's going to show that the business is active, you're spending money, they're going to be more comfortable to lend money to you. So it's not a necessity, it's just something that's good to have, and that's why we give it to you as the do-it-yourself program that comes with our membership.
So a lot of people ask, I don't know what to do with the funding. Can you help me utilize it within my business? And the answer is, of course we can. Our consultants can advise with the best utilization to optimize both your personal credit as well as investing wisely and safely into your business. Meaning that if you get 4 or 5 different cards, we'll help you figure out what's the best spread of, like you might want to take a certain amount off of each card to keep it balanced properly. And there's a variety of different factors that our consultants will make you aware of. A lot of people also ask, is this a training course or do you do the work? Now, we've mentioned throughout the entire presentation that this is something that we have to do. We do the work. There are some things we need your help with, but by far and large, we do all the work. We do all the applications. We do all the negotiations. But you have to open the letters when they are received at your house. You got to take that letter opener and cut it open and pull it out and activate the account. So that is something that you're going to have to do. A lot
And
of
communicate with us. That's the other thing. The biggest thing on your side is to communicate with the staff when we're asking for something. Did you receive anything from the banks? How are you doing with your pay downs? Just communicate with us, and we'll be able to get you moving a lot faster. The longer we have to wait on a response, the longer we can't move forward without knowing where you're at. And a lot of that is just communicating back and forth.
And that's the knowledge that our consultants have. Our consultants are very knowledgeable in what we do. And all of that, by the way, is put together into our book, the Fund and Grow book. You can go to our website if you're interested in buying the Fund and Grow book. And all of that is put together. All of what our consultants know is put into the Fund and Grow book. If anyone's interested in learning more about it, they can go and buy the book. But like one of the viewers brought up on the beginning of the webinar, they asked about having the Capital One business card. They said the Capital One business card is showing up on their personal credit report. And so we know which accounts are going to show up on your personal credit report, which ones are not going to. And the only time that we're going to recommend an account that will appear on your personal credit report is if we feel that it's going to help you with personal credit building. Most clients don't even need credit building, personal credit building. But if you are one of the ones that do need personal credit building, and you'll know that because you have weak scores, then we may want to get you accounts that are going to help make your profile more robust and more rock solid. So that's part of what we're going to do is going to be is going to help you have a stronger, more robust, rock solid credit profile.
So the larger the limits you have on your personal report, the more comfortable the banks are going to be to lend you more money. So if you have $2,000, $3,000, $1,000 limits on your personal report, they're not going to be comfortable lending you $25,000, $30,000 accounts. So we may go after that one personal or that one business card that shows up on the personal report. I've seen Capital One give out $100,000 cards. I've seen them give out $75,000 cards. Imagine what that would do to your personal credit report. It is a business card, but it does show up on the personal report, so that would bolster your personal report. The other one is Discover. Discover Business does show up on the personal report. Again, if we are to go after any one of those accounts, we would talk to you first. We would get your permission to do so.
Now, a lot of people ask, what is the payment amount that I'll be paying? Now, and of course, if you don't pull anything off the card, you're not gonna be paying anything. But you will be paying 1% of any balance that you do pull off. So that's roughly a good bellwether, if you will, of how much you'll be paying is about 1%. Some credit cards are slightly above, some is slightly below that, but they're generally all about 1% of the balance if you want to figure that out as a ratio. And so that's slightly more than what you'd be paying as a mortgage or in some other loan scenarios. But the good thing is that all of these are 0%. So you're paying off all principal payments during that 0% period of time. So being able to pay off all principal payments and pay down that principal faster, if you know anything about amortization, then you'll know that it just absolutely kills the overall loan. Like you never pay the loan down when it's amortized. So being able to pay all principal payments, that's huge. You're able to cut that principal down faster than on an amortized loan, such as an auto loan or a mortgage. And so the 1% seems a little high, but in reality, it's all being applied towards the principal during the 0% time, and you're able to get paid down even faster than you would using an amortized loan.
Christian's asking, do the cards usually get declined if you try to max out the card's balance? No, they give you a credit limit that you're able to spend to. If you have a $15,000 card, you're planning on putting $14,000 on it. I would recommend calling the bank, letting them know so that they don't think it's fraud, but they will not shut the account down. Now, if you're making minimum payments towards these accounts, we will recommend paying a little bit over that. The more, if you're paying them back at the minimum payment, there is a chance that they would lower that limit. But if you're paying just over the minimum payment, we recommend about 2 times. If it's a high amount like that, maybe $100 over the minimum payment, that shows chunk payments and it builds that trust with the bank. So when we go after them for the next round of funding, they're saying, okay, I lent this person 15,000. They put $14,000 on it. Their minimum payment was, I don't know, $300. They were paying me back at $450 a month or making 2 payments a month. I'm going to lend to them and give them $28,000, $30,000, and they'll do it just by building that trust with them.
Some more questions that we are commonly asked. It says that the website is 4,000. So right now, it's important to know that there is a $500 discount. So that's why you're going to see that discrepancy. If you go to fundandgrow.com, you're going to see a $4,000 price point. And right now we have it for $500 off, so it's at $34.97, but you have to use that link, and it's only at this price for a very limited time. And you have to go to this link, fundandgrow.com/2021. If you go to our normal buy area, you're going to see that it's at the full price. So what happens when my membership expires? You can sign up for another year of membership. We have clients that sign up year after year so that we can maintain their personal and business credit for them. And that's a very common thing. So if you'd like us to do that for you, you can do that. So again, the credit card repayment is 1% of the balance. So we're going to, for every client that gets started with us, we're going to help anyone who has a hard time purchasing. So a lot of people say, well, listen, it's a credit card. Not all places accept credit card. And so we're going to show you how you can use that credit card to purchase anything that your business needs. And so whether you're in real estate, whether you're buying inventory, whether the place you're trying to purchase inventory from even accepts credit card or not, it's not going to be a problem. If you need to wire transfer the money to a title agency, that's not going to be a problem. No matter what you need to do with it, it's not going to be a problem because we have many clients that have already been through that. We've already worked out that part of the process. The only thing you need to bring to this process is your good credit. And even if you don't have good credit, we can help you with that. But if you have good credit, this is a slam dunk, no brainer. We're going to get you access to funding. If you have a credit partner, now is the time you're going to get that $8,000 deal. Sign up now, add your credit partner absolutely free. The bonuses that we have could double the amount of credit you're getting at no additional cost to you.
We have another question. If you guys have questions, please send them through. We'll answer as many as we can. We're only going to be on here for a little while longer, but send them through. We'll answer whatever we can. Our mortgage is on protected pandemic deferral forbearance. Still says exceptional payment. I was approved for a personal B of A, personal CC credit card, 17,000 limit in April of 2021, 4 months after the forbearance. Would that affect my limits with Fund and Grow? Most of my limits are 15K and above. Scores are 740. To answer your question, we would want to have that B of A card seasoned for about 3 more months. Anything on the personal report, any revolving accounts, any credit cards on the personal profile, we want them to season for 6 months. We want to show the banks, whether it's B of A or it's Chase or one of the local banks or American Express, whoever we're going after, we want them to see that you're able to hold up with the payments on that new account. Any new accounts they see as a risk. As far as the forbearance is concerned, we've seen mixed results with forbearances. Usually when there's a forbearance on a mortgage, the banks are wondering why can't he pay that back? Why is there a forbearance? Why can't she make the payments towards the mortgage? Now, on the other hand, if the credit profile is extremely strong and the payments are still being made, then yes, we could get around that. My suggestion would be to sign up. Yes, we'll look at the report, and we should be able to move forward in about 3 months and be able to get that funding for you once that B of A personal credit card seasons. But you could also start working on the corporate credit, which builds into the business side then the banks have more to look at than just the personal side. Um, if you want to call us, you can always call us and talk to our business development team. The phone number is here. It's 1-800-996-0270. You can select extension 1 for our business development team. Once you sign up, you can call the same number, hit extension 2. That sends you to our client relations team. But if you have any questions, if you're not able to send them through here, if the link's not working for you for whatever reason, give us a call. This $500 discount is only going to last for a short period of time. We're going to stay on as long as we can. Once we sign off, I'm not sure how long the discount's going to be there for, but give us a call if you still have any questions. Again, 800-996-0270, extension 1.
Excellent. So we have a couple more common questions. A lot of people ask, well, what if I don't know what my credit score is? Well, it's pretty easy for you to go and to do a online credit score check. But if you're interested, you can always call us. And again, the number is 800-996-0270. And our team can do what's called a pre-qual on you, which means that they can look and see what your scores are at. And just suffice it to say that if you're unable to move forward with us, we're not going to charge you anyway. So we want to work together with people that are able to get funding through our process. So does doing the payment plan slow the process? No, doing the payment plan does not slow the process down at all. You move forward using the entire process.
Field says our parents never taught us any of this. 100% correct. I wish there was school during high school that we were taught about this. But if you're willing to learn, if you want to learn about it, if you want to fix your credit, we're here for you now. There's no better time than now. Get the discount. We'll teach you everything that we know. We'll show you how we do things. We'll help you fix your personal credit. Don't be scared if your business or if your personal credit is bad. If it is bad, what are you doing to fix it? We're here to help you. We're gonna point you in the right direction. We're gonna give you the recommendations. We're gonna put you in touch with people that we know that can help you. We'll build that score together. We'll get you the business credit. We'll get you the corporate credit. Remember, corporate credit, business credit, 2 completely different things. We'll help you with both of them. We'll help you with the inquiry removal. Whatever you need, we'll be able to help you.
So this process works for startups. It works for established businesses. It doesn't matter whether you're a startup or whether you're already established. As long as you have good credit, you will be able to get access to the funds. And that will generally take, how long does it take to get access to the funds? Generally within the first 3 to 4 weeks of working with us, unless you have major credit issues. If you don't have major credit issues, then you'll be gaining access to the funds in about 3 to 4 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks means we've had time to go through the consulting process, any changes that need to be made, as well as the applying process and the negotiation process. And you should be receiving your first accounts within the first 3 to 4 weeks. So that's not necessarily for everyone. That's for those that are in the position to be able to apply right away. If you need credit repair or something like that, then that would be, obviously there's going to be work that goes into that.
Duas is asking to start a rental property buy and hold business. Do you help us start the business? Yes, we'll help you create the LLC. We'll get you the EIN number. A lot of our clients come in, they either have a brand new business, they have an existing business, or they have nothing at all. We'll help you create the LLC. We'll help you create a sole proprietorship, which we can use to go for funding immediately. Like Ari mentioned before, we'll backdate it to your industry, to what you've had experience with in your industry. We'll create that LLC for you so you can start to buy properties. Absolutely. Sign up now. We'll get started on that day one.
And for those just joining us, well, let's talk just a minute about the 30% ratio. The 30% ratio is for personal credit accounts. This is why we're so passionate about using business credit accounts, because business credit accounts don't have this ratio. On a personal credit account, it is recommended to not use above 35% of the credit account. So if I have a $10,000 limit, they don't want me using more than 35% of that. So no more than $3,500 on that $10,000 card. Otherwise, it's going to start pulling my scores down. When I go above 35% usage, my scores start coming down. This does not exist within business funding. So that is a really important thing to remember. So if you want to see whether or not you're ready to get started with us right now, you'll have ideally less than 30% on your personal credit cards right now. You'll have less than 4 inquiries in the last 6 months. You'll have little to no negative remarks on your report, like charge-offs or late payments or anything like that. And you'll utilize the business credit that we obtain for you rather than using your personal accounts over and over. That way you can increase your overall credit worthiness by not being hampered by carrying a lot of personal debt, because instead you'll be using the business debt. And so that is going to be so first of all, that's how you want to qualify. And secondly, that's how you stay qualified. So by not continuing to ring up your personal credit and then going above that 35%, then your scores go down, and you don't want your scores going up and down all the time. So you'll start using your business credit from now on and you'll stay qualified. So as we mentioned, there are virtually unlimited uses for what you can use business credit for. And most people on the call probably already know what they want to use it for, but you can use it for real estate. You can use it for online e-commerce. You can use it for your brick and mortar. It doesn't matter what type of business you're in. Likely you already know that you need access to funding. And here again, we have our graphic of the process that you go through, where you start in step 1, work all the way to step 10, and we continue the credit building process. And to recap one last time, this is everything that we have included, a $20,000 value almost today for $3,500. So we're definitely putting our money where our mouth is. What's all included? Everything from the lendable entity all the way to us giving you the credit. So we're going to do the applications, we do the negotiations, we do the entire process for you. There are some things that we need your help with because we can't do it for you. We can't open up your mail. There's some things that you need to do that we can't do, but we do all the heavy lifting. And all of that is included within our 12-month membership, where we're going to build up to and over $250,000 of funding. So again, the link to get started is fundandgrow.com/2021. So again, fundandgrow.com/2021. If anyone's interested in calling in, the phone number is 1-800-996-0270. And we have people standing by to be able to talk, to find out where your situation is and see how much funding you qualify for. But we want to thank everyone that has joined us today. We appreciate that you've joined us for our presentation. We hope that you found it engaging. We hope that you found it insightful and that you were able to learn something. Whether or not you choose to want to work, engage our team, we hope that you were able to find something insightful and useful in this presentation today.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for your time. Again, if you have any questions, give us a call. We're here to help. We're here to do whatever we can to help you. Like Ari said, whether you're working with us or not, we'll answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, everyone.